Goodness.
Here we go. All right.
All right. Now we're recording. Hello, Mercury. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Reverend Jamila Jamie here. Today is Sunday, January 16th. We are just in prime energy with Mercury retrograde. We have Uranus retrograde, Venus retrograde, full moon tomorrow, all the things. And of course, that, as usual, brought me and Marianne a little hiccup as we pivot and dance and maneuver. So, with that, I would love, we have just a really a kind of a juicy topic. I like it. I was dancing with like, like, how do I put this into words? So, before I'm going to leave you in a little suspense because I would love to introduce Reverend Marianne, and she's actually going to open us up, let you know our topic, and we will get started on this again. Just this beautiful morning. This y'all have to forgive me because I wasn't on my duty last month. I had a scheduling conflict, and I missed my Marianne, and I missed you all. I missed my Sunday morning grace time. So I'm rambling for just a moment because I'm very very happy to be back. So, okay, now I'm going to let Marianne have.
I love it. I love it. That just kind of sets the tone for today. So we're continuing, obviously, our topic of clearing the spiritual clutter and just making room for more possibilities. So before we get into that very juicy topic, which, as Reverend John Anderson shared with us last week, can be somewhat of chaos. Let's just quiet that chaos and that kind of craziness of the morning, and let's just get settled in and just, it's cold here in the Northeast. So let's just kind of feel some of that warmth, that divine angelic warmth. So wrap yourself as you feel comfortable and just give yourself a huge hug, warm hug, and feel that hug from everyone here. These days, all we can do are virtual hugs anyway. And close your eyes. And this morning, I'm just feeling like the angels are saying, it's like the teacher in the kindergarten classroom going, simmer down, children, simmer down. They're asking us just to quiet ourselves for a little bit. And I'm almost hearing the teacher say, and today we have a special guest, and they're going to pull up their hand puppet. But whatever it is that gives you joy, it's going to be fun. Today is fun. Every day can be fun if we're in the right mood. But just settle into the fact that we are never walking this journey alone. And if we can quiet ourselves, doesn't have to mean we go into meditation state. But if we can quiet ourselves, quiet our own voices within our head, and allow the angelic beings, the heavenly beings, the divine, to just whisper in our ear, they'll give us the path to follow. And if we keep following it, and I hear they're not going to give us the end of the journey. They're going to just keep holding our hands through that journey. So just go where it leads. And whether it's clearing spiritual clutter, doesn't all have to be done in one day. Or if it's one step at a time and it's moving forward. I'm hearing one foot in front of the other. And when you're tired, they say, we'll stop. We'll stop and we'll review where we've been and we'll review where we're going. Because they tell me it's sometimes good to review how far you've come. Because when we're busy clearing or doing the work, sometimes we lose track of how far we've come. And they want us to celebrate that. And even if the only step we take is just to stay where we are for that day, that is okay. It's still progress because we're not stepping back. So as long as we're standing still or moving forward, we are on the right path. So I don't know who needed to hear that this morning in addition to me, but I pray that that has been helpful. And I'm just going to let us sit with that for a minute before we come back and move forward. All right, so as we're ready, thank the angels for their wisdom and their guidance yet again. And let's forge ahead.
Onward and upward. Immediately what I heard. I love that so much. And you couldn't see, but I was raising my hand that I too needed to hear that this morning. Yeah.
Yeah, they had me close my eyes just because sometimes we have to close out all the distraction to be able to hear. And it doesn't mean we have to go into that meditative space.
And I think that's so relevant and pertinent. As I was joking and giggling at the beginning of this about, with so many planets being, not so many, but the 3 planets that are retrograde, and the energy of the full moon really does ask us and invite us to go, deeper within. And thinking of my own, where I'm at right now, and in terms of spiritual clutter, for me tends to come up in stinking thinking thoughts as I'm clearing and I'm releasing and I'm aligning and doing all the things, right? And really rewriting my own personal narrative. I've been doing this for a while now, and as and you were even just saying one, just the steps we take each day or not, because sometimes we're asked to just sit and contemplate or sit and reflect or sit in that stillness. And I love the closing eyes because I'm actually so much of a feeling person. I just like, I don't always have the words, but I know what I feel. And so I will even look at if something's happening and or like comes into my awareness, doesn't make me feel good, I do my best to just sit with it and be like, why am I so triggered about this? Or why do I feel, such an extreme, whatever the feeling I'm experiencing may be. And that will, kind of take me into that space where I'll just sit and close my eyes and be like, all right, let me just get clear on this and like see what this really is. And not always jump at the first thing. I think that's part of clearing the clutter for me and my spiritual clutter and the stories that I've crafted, and there's nothing wrong with stories that we've crafted in the past, because sometimes we need stories to survive. Sometimes we need stories to get us through. These stories, I think sometimes when we hear story, we automatically think fiction, right? And it's fictitious and it's not real, and that's not true. Like there's all types of stories that we can write. Right now I'm writing, what is it, my autobiography, or like my biography. Like I'm rewriting a new chapter in the story that is my life, and it's very real. So I was just even, sitting and just really tuning into this topic and thinking of all the, the thoughts at times that, come to mind of why I may be upset aren't even necessarily the real cause. So when I allow myself that space and that place to really just be quiet and go within, and to really just, shut out the world and feel what I'm feeling, because I'm honoring myself when I do that. And I'm also honoring others. So I'm not so quick to speak from a place that's, it may feel true in the moment, but it's actually not true. I'm speaking from pain, not from the actual wisdom or, you know, the truth and awareness around what's really going on. I had an experience, actually, gotta love the angels, like that, a couple of days ago. And I was just sitting and I thought I was mad at one thing or like upset by it. And I actually wasn't. And when I just allowed myself to feel what I was feeling, not hang up in it, but just observe it, go with it, then I had this clarity that came through that was like nothing at all that I thought it was. And it was also interesting that it's something that might not seem big to some, but it was actually big to me. And I was judging myself a little bit for feeling the intensity that I was feeling. And then when I got to the core of it, even though it might have not seemed like such a big thing, it actually opened up for me to have deeper compassion for myself, because the core was actually kind of sweet, like the core why I was hurt was actually, really sweet, and just a very, an innocence to it that just again allowed even the opening for my own self-compassion, and in my own self-compassion the ripple of having compassion for others. And even just, while I don't know why people always do what they do, and that's okay, it's not like it's anything major, I don't want to make it like that, it's just in the situation someone did something a certain way, but when I was able to get to the core for me and meet myself with compassion, then I was able to pull back and just, be like, oh, hey, there could be a lot of things going on. This I do know is going on, and that actually makes sense as to why things happen the way they did. And then I'm able to release, any energies that, if I'm just being honest, I was feeling a little angry, and a little hostile. So I was, able to release the anger and hostility, and also of course, blessings and love, to this person, because I don't want my feelings to, go to them. I would, I try to stay more angry if I have those feelings, because I'm human, at a situation, not an actual person, but still just releasing it around all of that. And in that, releasing the clutter. So again, I just think it's just, I love your opening blessing for this topic, because it's just so perfect, at least for me, on like ways to release the clutter and how the clutter can show up. And for me, the clutter will show up in false narratives if I don't allow myself the space to release it and be with it.
That's so beautiful. And this week I found another place where there's clutter, and there can be, because clutter can cause blockages, and it can cause kind of work stoppage, if you want to call it that. And it's around fear about things we have no control over. And just going through this week, which was a rather emotional roller coaster of a week, and it's, if we start putting those human emotions in, and we start feeling as if we have control, and we start trying to manage, we are going to get ourselves so deep in the weeds, because the control is not ours. And we do that out of fear, or at least I do that out of fear. There are some people who do it because they have to be the one in charge. And there are certain things that we are in charge of. But there are also certain things that are way beyond our control. And to even guess that we have any control. Yes, we may have some say in portions of it, but we have to trust. We have to trust. And if we're listening, we're quieting ourselves to listen and follow those breadcrumbs, we will find that our fears are being quelled, and we are going to feel much more confident in stepping forward and stepping into that power, as scary as some of those steps are that we may be taking. We will do it with full confidence. And that's because we're clearing the clutter of feeling that we are in total control. We are in control of our emotions. We are in control of our responses, but we are not in control of the overall situation. And perfect example of that is this week. Here I am, and there's moments of levity that bring us back there. Krista went by ambulance to the hospital this week, as I think most people know. And, there's a flurry of activity in the house when paramedics and ambulance guys, everybody shows up. The firefighters are there. There's a fire truck outside the house. And I'm trying to keep a dog quiet. I'm trying to keep a kid quiet. I'm trying to convince them to take me into a hospital that's a half hour away, by ambulance. And they're not hearing it, but it's okay. I had to try. And that's part of that giving up. It's like that acceptance that, look, if a cardiac event, you're going to the closest hospital. You're not going to the hospital of choice. that's okay, as long as I know I tried. And she tried by turning on the charm too. But I said to the guys as they're going out, I confirmed that where they were going, and I said, okay, because I'm going to follow you. And the ambulance guy whips around and you can't follow us. I said, what do you mean I can't follow you? He said, it's illegal, ma'am. And I said, it's illegal for me to meet you at the hospital? He goes, no, you said you were going to follow us. We go through red lights, and you don't have a red light on your car. If you go through a red light with us, you could cause an accident.
Oh my God.
Like, well, thank you, Captain Obvious. I wasn't literally meaning I was following you. It meant I was going to be traveling behind you to meet you there. Okay. So, I'm like, oh my God, So I'm feeling really bad about that exchange. Well, what I found out from Crystal later, when they did finally allow me to be in the room with her, he told her he had a family member literally follow, and it crashed into the back of the ambulance. So he was suffering from PTSD over this whole thing. Yes, it's a moment of laughter. It's a moment of levity. Yeah. It's that aha moment. So, but by having that exchange and then having to watch that ambulance go through that red light, and I lost control. My daughter was no longer in my control to know exactly what was going on at that moment. And I had to surrender to that. And I had to trust that she was with people who were going to care for her. And these two guys turned out to be awesome, because I couldn't be in with her till she was stable. But they had literally just left when they let me in with her, because they were young guys. They really liked her. And they knew she was afraid. They knew that I wasn't going to be able to get in yet. They had seen the dynamic between the two of us. And so they just kind of dilly-dallied and stayed in the room with her until they knew they were getting ready to let me in. So God provides.
That's so sweet.
I
love these guys. Like, that's so sweet.
And so there are where we are pulled, let me get out of tongue-tiedness here. When we are in a place where we cannot be in control, or we cannot be present in the dynamics of what's going on, there are helpers that step in. And if we trust that, it allows for us to clear the clutter of that fear. And then we can move forward and trust and just be open to the fact that maybe I'm not the right person to be helping in this moment. Somebody else is.
Yeah, trained medical professionals tend to.
I refer to myself a lot of times as Dr. Mom. And Dr. Mom knows a lot about what's going on, but Dr. Mom does not have the degree. So they don't always listen to Dr. Mom.
Yeah, they was going to say that. But mamas do know. We do know things from that mama's intuition, though, that far exceeds a degree. But yeah. I knew there's a time to let the cardiologists actually handle them.
Yes. And so I think I wasn't too far off this time. I was listening to the gut, and I was this gut. But I also was very calm. So, a mama bear didn't have to come out too loud. So
I'm glad. And I think even that is just a prime example, right? Because when the guy was like, you can't follow us, like, you could have had a mama bear moment right there and been like, colorful words and things of like, who are you to, so I even love how that's just another example of like, when we just kind of roll with it, even if we're like, huh, what? But we just keep the thoughts, internal while we then see, because this man actually did have that experience, as crazy as it sounds to us. And like, no, I'm not literally, but, and to know what, allowing that space for him to share, when the timing was right with Krista, that like, hey, like, oh, no wonder he's like said what he said, rather than, just flying off the handle and, just like, oh, I'm coming, So I even love that as an example of, when to just kind of like, sometimes we do just need to, I mean, we say so much practice the pause, but there's so much, there's so much in that pause, and that,
Mhm.
like you say, choosing, how we respond or react to our feelings, to our emotions. And just, I just think it's quite a gift to give ourselves and another when we don't do that. Just
Right. And
take a breath.
choosing our words.
Hmm.
I said, I'm going to follow you. I didn't say I'm going to meet you there. I said I'm
Hmm.
going to follow you. What
Yeah.
I meant was I was going to be heading in that direction behind you. Not
But I will obey
literally.
laws.
I wasn't actually asking to hitch my car to the ambulance, but
Yeah, yeah.
realizing that how our words can be perceived.
Hmm.
And that
Hmm.
is clutter too. Say what you
Hmm.
mean, but be succinct and realize that somebody may look at you odd. Somebody may not understand what you're saying because in your head, you know what you mean, but are your words really, sharing that? Is it being
Hmm.
received in the same manner?
That's why I
So,
love awarenesses. Like, I mean, I always know, and I mean, I'm rewriting this, but it's just still something that plays out in my life. And it just is. And I am Mercury ruled. And when Mercury goes retrograde, I'm not always taken the way I intend to, like the way or what I intend isn't always conveyed or received in the way that I mean it. So like even with that situation, when I was kind of having a little bit of conversation around it, I was actually very mindful of I was very mindful of my words, very mindful of what I said, very mindful of what I didn't say, so it's just like even in that, just to have that experience and to really put it, like put it into action. It was nice. Like it was nice to see that I can do it. It
yeah,
was yeah, yeah, but no, but I'm just emphasizing that because I do feel that it's, it's very important. And, honestly, what came out at the end for me and all this is just the simple fact that in my experience, if the person just would have said, "Hey, do you have room?" It would have completely changed the dynamics of just rather than telling, just saying, "Hey, do you mind if, hey, I'm wondering if, and so, even in that, as we're hustle and bustle and we're all going through so many things, because there's a lot of, people are going through things right now. It just, seems collectively the theme, at least I know the theme we've been seeing, um, not just in our personal lives, but from those around us or in community with us, or and just outside of community. People are going through a lot. And sometimes when we're going through a lot, we can tend to get hyper focused on ourselves. Understandably, that's not in judgment. I do it too. But also, again, when you allow yourself the gift of the pause and giving that gift to another, just so you can take a minute and be like, hey, okay, wait, this will work best for me, but will it work best for this person that I need?
hmm
I need their help for this to happen for me. Like, but rather than, I think sometimes we just go into delegate mode because there's so much going on. And it's like, you this, you that, you this, you that. And then it's like, but wait, did we even stop and say, hey, are you okay? Do you have room for this? So I just think even in that, just being mindful of, asking where another is. Do they have space? Are they able, can they? That even just opening with that, or even acknowledging like, hey, I know you have some stuff going on, but I could really, I wouldn't ask, but I could really use your help, or however you may word it. But even that, just starting things off in that way can completely change the energy, because it's saying like, hey, I see you, and I feel like when we it's a double-edged sword when we go through things and we have shakeups and we just have a lot happening that we don't always think to do that, because again, everyone's just kind of, we're looking out for what's best, for ourselves in the moment. And that's not selfish. I don't mean it to sound unselfish, but it's like we're just, getting these plans in order and these actions because we want to be better. It's like we all do better when we all do better. but sometimes in that we still need to kind of check in and just make sure that, there's space and capacity for things. And that can help clear clutter too. And to flip that and not create more clutter for yourself, being able to speak up for yourself if you're on the receiving end of something and somebody's giving you things and you're just not able to do them, it might not feel comfortable to say, I'm sorry, I can't do that right now. But don't create more clutter for yourself by just, taking on things to appease everyone if you really don't have the space to do it, because then now you're sitting in all this clutter and all these feelings. And, so like you have permission also to say, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry you're in this, have all this happening, but I'm not in a space. I don't have the capacity. And, because a lot of us are at that space, but yet we keep taking more on because we have hearts and we don't like to say no and we want to help everybody. But, as we always say, you can't pour from an empty cup. And at this point, I'm an advocate of not pouring from your cup at all, pour from your saucer. And then that way your cup always stays full.
Right. And that's oh so true. And interesting enough, Chris and I were watching one of those paranormal shows yesterday, and this particular team were in, and they were trying to get some EVPs and some activity, and it was like completely quiet. And what they realized was the next day they went in and they asked for permission to be in the house, and they explained why they were doing the investigation they were going to do. And the whole energy of that house shifted. So this extends even when we're asking our loved ones, our deceased loved ones, or if we're asking for that support from the other side, ask for permission, or just say, may I be here, or explain what you need, why you need it, why you're you're working with them. So it's kind of like thinking about that like last night, and I didn't really click with me, but it's the exclamation point to the whole conversation we're having. It's really important to ask for that permission or acknowledge that you see this person and ask for help, but accept the fact that they may not be the helper that you need in the moment. And it gets us all out of that cluttered environment because the lines of communication are clear.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're cluttered and muddled, we're not speaking clearly with one another, and there's resentment, there's hurt feelings, there's just all these overarching things that can destroy a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
or can cause us to make errors and not do the right thing, or not do something well because of those feelings and emotions. I feel like I'm struggling for words today.
Would you like me to offer you some word assistance? No, I'm just kidding.
I haven't had my coffee, that's why.
I know.
Well, I feel very complete. I don't know about you.
I do. I'm like giddy. I needed this more than I realized. I always know I get something from it, but yeah, I'm just glad that there was almost a scheduling conflict this month as well. And I was like, no, I can't have another conflict. So I am so grateful because this feeds my soul. I love to be able to show up, be here with you, and be of service to our beautiful community. And yeah, so I'm feeling really good.
Awesome. And to our beautiful community, we're here for you. So if you have anything you want to share, anything you want to add to our conversation, reach out to Jamie or I. We're happy to hear. We're happy to discuss. We're happy to follow up. We're happy to clarify whatever it is, or be of service to you in any way. So know that that's always fair. And also just want to remind you, next week in this time slot, we will be continuing the topic with two of our newest ministers, Reverend Vanessa and Reverend Nelia. And I will be with them in the background, just kind of doing the technical stuff. So looking forward to hearing their take on the topic. And then Reverends Carolyn and Dawn Simpson will be closing us out the following week. So
Yeah. And
2 more
speaking of
weeks of this
ministers, I
topic.
just have to throw in too. I'm so sorry. I don't know if she'll hear this or not, but it is Reverend Dawn Pinky Anderson's birthday today. So happy birthday, Dawn.
Happy birthday, Dawn.
Pinky. Yeah.
And it would have been my Nana's birthday
Yeah.
as well. So
I love it.
good company
Love
on
it.
the 16th of January.
Yeah. I love it.
All right. Are we ready to go to tenets?
We are ready to go to tenets.
Let's get that up here. All right.
And I have to tell you, we usually pull one of our stones for the day. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't, but I have a stone. I have one behind me, but the stone that pulled out says relax. So I love that, tying back to our theme. And
I do have mine. And this week is I serve with a loving heart.
I love that. See, because when we relax and we clear the clutter, that's the beautiful benefit and byproduct, as we are able to show up and serve with a loving heart. And just inviting you, as we start this week, as we there us in the Northeast, and even a little west of here, me and Marianne are both on the East Coast. So we have a nor'easter heading our way. Some people have had it, some are in the midst of it now. So just allowing yourself as best you can to be with what may appear the chaos even of that, allowing yourself to find the beauty that is in it, even the beauty. And I always think of, like, every time it snows, like, oh my gosh, not a single snowflake is the same. And sometimes I just have to bring myself back to that awe and that wonder and just the magnificence to help ground me back into all the possibilities and all the beauty that is here for us. And just saying that, and as I do, inviting you to just take a nice deep breath and placing your hand over your heart if it feels right for you, as we begin the journey of wrapping up our call for today, inviting you to really just allow these tenets to fill your cells, to feel your soul. May you embody them as you walk through this beautiful, fresh week. I open my heart with deep gratitude and intend today to master my spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical energies. I am dedicated to my spiritual practice. I surrender to my soul's purpose through sacred prayer. I own my guidance.
I live in partnership with my angels. I serve with a loving heart. I am compassionate in every moment.
I trust it's all good. I allow immediate forgiveness, and I honor my truth.
I listen to the spiritual messages within my physical body. I express myself creatively. I am one with Mother Earth. And so it is.
And so it is, and so it shall be. And as we again embark on this beautiful week full of potential and possibility, we just ask and allow ourselves to receive, if it may be that we are able to see with the eyes of the divine, that our thoughts are those of the divine, that our tongues speak the love and compassion of the divine, that our hearts embrace all as the divine would and does. And as we walk forward, may our feet leave a legacy of love everywhere that we go. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Thank
So
you,
there
Marianne.
you have it. I love how our ending prayer like evolves for each week. It just tells me something different. So
it's perfect. It's perfect. I love it. And it's just a fitting way to just bid each other adieu for now.
yes, just for now.
to thank you always for brightening my day and starting my week on the right tempo.
Okay. I'm grateful. I love it.
And
I'm
we're
smiling.
grateful.
Yeah.
And we're
Yeah,
grateful,
just smile.
obviously, to everyone who participates with us here,
Mhm.
either live or via recording. And blessed
Mhm.
be, we love you.
Bless- Love you. Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful week.
Bye.
Bye.